This regular meeting of the Detroit Lake City Council is called to order. At this time, I'd like to invite all of you to please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. First item on the agenda for the council this evening is the approval of the minutes of the regular city council meeting held on November 12th, 2014 and December 9th, 2014. Is there anyone in the audience or any member of the council that wishes to make any corrections or additions to the minutes? And I know Alderman Imholt has one.
Mayor, on the December 9th minutes, page 4, I just would like our Glory to add a line there. It says Sky Digital is in support of all the proposed changes, section 24 of the zoning ordinance. They also, it wasn't part of the ordinance, but they also, Sky Digital, I'd just like a line to read, the Sky Digital committed to 240,000 ads over a period of a year for nonprofits in our community, as well as a 5-year chamber membership. And I would suggest we could approve the minutes as long as everybody's okay with that language, and I would so move.
Second.
Okay, the motion is made to have Glory adjust the minutes to reflect those items that Bruce mentioned.
I just want to make sure there's a permanent record that they committed to that.
Okay. Before we vote on the motion, was there any other corrections of the minutes that anybody had that? If not, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion is carried. The consent agenda is before the council, and all items with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered separately in its normal sequence on the agenda. And again, is there anyone in the audience or any member of the council that wishes to either add or delete an item from the consent agenda?
Your Honor, I'd like to add item 10A to the consent agenda.
Okay, are there any other items that anyone would like to?
6G.
So 6G and 10A, we're going to add to the consent agenda, right? And we won't discuss them, correct?
Which one?
6G is on. Ron, do you want that taken off the consent?
I want to take that taken off.
Okay. And Bruce, you're putting one on. Any other adjustments?
Was that 6D or 6G?
G's and George, yep.
Okay, with those two corrections, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda with two items adjusted on the agenda. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion is carried. Dan Wenner is not here this evening. He's got business out of the city and was not able to attend this evening. Just for information, at the end of the meeting, when there are probably going to be no more items left on the agenda, I'm going to ask the city council to make a motion to close the meeting in regards to a lawsuit that was filed against the city by Greg and Janet Holmes. And when we go into closed session, we'll be advised by our city attorney and other counsel as to what options the city has, and so we're going to go into a closed session for that, so just for your information. There are no public hearings this evening, and so at this time, I would call on Chairman Imholt for the Community Development Committee agenda.
Thank you, Your Honor. Item A, 5A, is consideration of second reading and adoption of an ordinance amending section 24 of the zoning ordinance relative to the definition, limitations, and duration of static display, duration for electronic changeable copy or graphic display signs. In simple language, this just means that we basically went from a 15-minute hold to 7 seconds on digital signs, and this is the second reading, and the first reading was last month. Community Development Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to give second reading and adopt an ordinance amending section 24 of our zoning ordinance relative to basically electronic changeable signs. Is there anyone in the audience or any member of the council that has any discussion on the second reading?
Well, just again, this is, as we mentioned in the minutes, I just want to make sure the public is aware that, and I'm stepping out here, I think I've talked to Carrie about this, but if there's any nonprofits that wish to advertise some type of community item they've got going on, I know the Rotary has their fishing derby, the Boys and Girls Club has things going on, whatever it is, the nonprofits can contact the chamber, and these folks will they've got some free ads that they'll do over the course of the year, and I just think we should try to take advantage of that as long as they offer it.
So they can go through the chamber, Bruce. They don't have to go to Sky Digital, right?
Well, I think the chamber would put them in touch with Sky Digital. Sky
Oh, okay.
Digital is actually offered to do the ads, and
Okay.
they would do that, and I think that's great, but I think we should take them up on the offer.
Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried, and second reading is given, and the ordinance is amended to, regarding the electronic signs. Bruce?
This is, item B is also second reading and adoption of an ordinance to rezone 551 11th Avenue Southeast from R2, 1 and 2 Family Residence District to B2 General Business District to allow construction of a year-round child care center. And again, this is the second reading. CDC Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to give second reading and adopt an ordinance rezoning 551 11th Avenue Southeast to B2 General Business District. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried.
There's no other items, Your Honor. I know the annual report is in everybody's packet, and I know you're going to address some of those things in your State of the City.
Thank you. We'll move to the Public Works Committee. Chairman Zeman.
Okay, item 6A is consideration to a resolution setting a hearing date for the reconstruction improvement of Peter Street and Fortune Avenue. The committee recommends, and I so move that we set that date here tonight.
Second.
And what would that date be?
That date would be our next council meeting, which would be on February the 14th? 10th, excuse me, February 10th.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to set a hearing for February 10th at the regular city council meeting regarding reconstruction improvements on Peter Street and Fortune Avenue. Discussion on the motion? Did we have a motion?
Yeah.
God, how could I forget that already? We just started. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried.
Okay, the next item is item 6B, consideration to the approval of an application submitted by the DLCCC to conduct a Tough Laker event. This is a summer event for Sunday, June 28, 2015, at 7 a.m. at the city Park Beach. The application inside your packet, the committee recommends, and I so move this. I believe this will be the third year that they've done this now.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve an application for the Detroit Lakes Community and Cultural Center to conduct the Laker Tough event on Sunday, June 28th. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
Next item is item 6C, consideration of the request made by Kyle Broughton to have more than 2 animal permits at 1313 Lake Avenue. There's been no complaints, and the request is to have a third dog, and the committee so moved, and I recommend that we go ahead and allow him to have 3 dogs.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a request by Kyle Broughton to have 3 dogs at 1313 Lake Avenue. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
The next item is 6H, which you should, as members should have in front of you. It's in regards for the matter of approving plans and specs and ordering advertising bids for the 2015 Washington Avenue Expansion Construction Project from Highway 10 to Willow Street. Committee recommends, and I so move.
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to approve the plans and specifications and order go out for bids for the 2015 Washington Avenue Reconstruction Project. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried.
The next item that I had removed from the consent agenda is item 6G, and it is more for information for the public. And if you look at your packet on that, under 6G in the back, I want you to look at the pavilion part of that Brad made, and it shows the number of events and the total days that the pavilion was rented. And in 2009 was what we go back to for that first year. At the end of the year, the pavilion had $10,786 in their checkbook. And as we moved down to 2010, that amount moved down to $9,171. In 2011, we're down to $4,246. In 2012, we actually went the whole $264. And for 2013, we made $3,400. In 2014, now this last year, we had a net revenue of $3,704. The point is that I hear all the time from people thinking that the city charges too much for the use of that pavilion. Well, in the long run, we're actually, if we're lucky, we're just breaking even and keeping it going and keeping it clean and staffing. And so when you look at the way these events are coming down now, it may be that we're going to have to look as a city of increasing the rental space again, because we're coming down almost breaking even on this, and we're all been hearing about the pavilion needs repair and we need to do more improvement on it. Well, when you only end up with $3,000 at the end of the year, you can't do much repairing. I just have that for information here tonight to let the people out in the public know that those of you that think that the fees are too high, we're actually just breaking even on it, and we're just getting out what our expenses are for the use of that space down there. That's what I wanted to get out.
Okay. Since you took it off, Ron, we probably should approve the annual Public Works report.
I would ask that we would approve that. And Brad, do you have any comments? It was your report that you came up on as far as the use of the ice rinks and everything else too on it.
No, it was a good year, and the biggest thing last year was a winter that never quit. So our snow removal budget took a big hit, but the street, we didn't do other things in the streets, and actually, the year went quite well. We had a number of different things with the Legacy Grant, the Upstream Sucker Creek, the Bremer Foundation Grant, just a number of things we did to really improve our parks in the streets and stuff, and then a lot of projects we're doing. And I just do this really, you just see the number of square footage that we do maintain, the manholes, the lift stations, just give you an idea how encompassing the projects are we do. It was a good year.
Is there a second to Ron's motion to approve the annual report from the Public Works Director?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the report. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Anything else, Ron, on the Public Works?
That's all, Your Honor.
Okay, we're going to go to the Finance Committee and Chairman Mark Erickson.
Okay, item A is consideration to authorizing the purchase of a document imaging system for all departments of the city. This is a budgeted item. There is some information in your packet regarding various things that are being looked at. At this time, staff is still kind of investigating the different types of systems that could be used, so we're not really ready to make a final recommendation, but they want approval to go ahead and continue to make a selection of a document imaging system.
Okay.
So move.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the purchase of a document imaging system. I'm assuming, Jamie, that when they decide, they'll come back with a number for us to approve?
Yeah,
or?
they have a couple of preliminary numbers here, approximately $18,000 from M-Files and $20,000 from Laserfish, if they would like,
They want to get serious about
final
it.
decision. Yep.
Okay. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
And if these,
Quickly on that, the reason we don't have a final number is that there's some setup time for various workflow items and different items that make the system better for the individual business, and we need to evaluate those and get a better handle on those costs. And that's why we weren't able to give you a final cost tonight.
Okay.
item B is consideration to accepting a quote for an insurance agent for the purpose of the city's participation in the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust for a 3-year period, 2015 to 2017. A quote tabulation is included in the packet. Does staff want to speak to this?
Yeah, there's 3 quotes that were received, all from local insurance agencies. One was Bremer, one was Schiller, and the third was from Marcus and Bear. I think we sent out some erroneous information. I have to confess that the quote from Marcus and Bear came in while I was on vacation and got mixed up with some other papers that got stuck in my in basket, and I just discovered them the other day. But Marcus and Bear did provide the low quote of $3,100. And we have copies of all the proposals if anyone wants to review those.
Committee recommends that we accept the quote from Marcus and Bear Insurance, and I so move.
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the low quote for an insurance agent for the purpose of the city's participation in the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust. Discussion on the motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'm recusing myself on this vote.
Okay. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And abstain?
Abstaining, sorry. Same thing.
Anything else, Jamie?
Yes, we have a recommendation a request that we authorize council members who are interested in attending the League of Minnesota Cities training for new and experienced elected officials. That's coming up in the month of January here, I believe, right? End of the month?
Yes, January 30th and 31st, there's training sessions for experienced and newly elected officials. There's two separate workshops. They're both in the cities. The newly elected officials workshop will also be repeated February 20th and 21st, I believe it is, in Alexandria. So there are two opportunities for the newly elected officials.
The committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve attendance at the newly elected and experienced city council seminars put on by the League of Minnesota Cities. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Anything else, Jamie?
No.
Okay, we'll move to the Public Safety Committee. Chairman Waller.
Thank you, Your Honor. Item 8A is consideration to approving the permit application for fireworks display on February 14th, 2015 during the Polar Fest event. The display will be held on Little Detroit Lake. The committee discussed this and recommends approval.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a permit for a fireworks display on February 14th during the Polar Fest. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Did have one other item,
Okay.
Your Honor. With the upgrade to the new Armor radio system that that we're involved with, the police department reports that it's working very well. However, the fire department is approximately 14 radios short, at a sum of approximately $35,000. Through discussions with city staff and the finance committee, we're looking for approval to possibly do a loan for that amount within our funding and a payback down the road. Does that make sense?
Is there a second to the motion?
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to purchase 14 Armor System radios for the fire department at an approximate cost of $35,000. Funding would come from an inter-fund loan, and then the council would take this up in the budget process to repay that inter-fund loan. Discussion on the motion? All in favor? Bruce, go ahead.
Well, I know we talked about trying to get some grant money, but on these 14 radios, is there a possibility that the county might come back with some funding for us on this too at all?
I think the county is purchasing 10 radios that will be given to the fire department. There's a grant through the Federal Emergency Management Agency that's been applied for, and we could possibly get reimbursed if that grant's approved, but we won't know about that. So the county could reimburse us, but I don't know if they will.
We did ask at the meeting last month with the county about the Armor radios. We asked about doing everything that night and completing the project, and the county said at this time they would, but we could always come back next year and ask.
Okay.
So,
Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Anything else, Marty?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll move to the Liquor Gambling Control Committee. And Jamie, were you going to take that? Okay.
Item A is consideration to the second reading and adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 702 Liquor and Wine Licensing, Section 702.02, Subdivision 1, adding 3 new licenses. On-sale brewer taproom license, on-sale brewer pub malt liquor license, and off-sale brewer malt liquor license, and amending Section 702.04 Subdivision 1 with the addition of 3 new license fees: on-sale brewer taproom fee, on-sale brew pub malt liquor fee, and off-sale brewer malt liquor fee. The committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to give second reading and adopt an ordinance amending our ordinances to create 3 new licenses for tap room, brew pub, and off-sale brewer, and also 3 new licenses for on-sale brewer, tap room fee. Well, whatever Jamie said. Seems like there's 4 there to me, but anyway. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried.
Item B is consideration to a donation from the Liquor Fund of $300 submitted by the Boys and Girls Club to cover the pavilion rental fee for the 19th annual Forward Plunge. After some discussion of this item, it was deemed to be more of an advertising sponsorship expense and something that would be handled by the liquor store staff.
So no action, Jamie?
No action. Item C is consideration to the request from the Polar Fest Committee for a cash donation to the Frozen Fireworks display to be held on February 14th, 2015. Again, this, after some discussion, this was deemed to be an advertising sponsorship type of expense and something that can be handled by the liquor store staff directly.
Again, no action.
Right.
Anything else? Anything on the Public Utilities Commission, Bruce?
Yes, Your Honor, we want to notify the council and the public that there'll be a public information meeting February 2nd at 5 p.m. So I'll make a motion to authorize that meeting, but also we want to make note that that's an information meeting on they'll be presenting information on the new wastewater plant. So it's important for the public. It's important for the council to be there to hear this presentation. We're talking about $30 to $40 million potentially that the city's going to have to come up with. I would appreciate, I know tomorrow morning you'll be on with Carol. Mayor, if you'd get the word out that way, and if the paper and the media out here would want to help us make sure that besides posting the information that there's some type of news story out there. This is a big deal for the city. So again, February 2nd, 5 p.m., public information meeting, I'd so move that we authorize that meeting.
That date again?
February 2nd, 5 p.m. here in the council chambers.
I second it.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to set a meeting on February 2nd at 5 p.m. Here at City Hall to conduct a public information meeting regarding the new proposed wastewater treatment plant at Detroit Lakes.
It'll be a presentation by our consultants on this. Be probably about a 45-minute, hour presentation, and then we'll be looking for comments from the public as well as council members.
Maybe I should start asking for money.
We have already.
Okay, and that was a motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried. Anything else, Bruce?
That's it.
There are a number of advisory board positions that are up for renewal or expiration, and I would like to make some recommendations to the council. First of all, I would like to recommend that the council reappoint Kim Betcher to the Detroit Lakes Park Board.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to reappoint Kim Betcher to the Detroit Lakes Park Board. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. The term of Cindy Anderson on the Planning Commission has expired as of December 31st, and she's served her full three-year terms and is not able to be reappointed. I would like to recommend Mariah Rufer to the City Council to replace Cindy Anderson on the Planning Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to appoint Mariah Rufer to the Detroit Lakes Planning Commission. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. The term of Mitch Wimmer on the Detroit Lakes Public Utilities Commission is going to expire on February 28th, and Mitch has served three-year terms and is not able to be reappointed. I'd like to recommend to the council that in the name of G.L. Tucker to be appointed to the Detroit Lakes Public Utilities.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to appoint G.L. Tucker to the Detroit Lakes Public Utilities Commission. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. I do not have an appointment for Roger Josephson's position. Roger has served his full three-year terms on the Detroit Lakes Planning Commission, and I hope to have a recommendation for you in February. The term of Lee Kessler on the Detroit Lakes Planning Commission expired as of December 31st. Lee has served 2 3-year terms and has agreed to serve a 3rd term, and I'd like to recommend that we reappoint Lee Kessler for another term.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and second to reappoint Lee Kessler to the Planning Commission. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Patrick Sauer, his term that he was filling out for Chris Burgeon is up as of December 31st. However, Patrick has taken on a new job and has chosen not to be reappointed, so I will try to have a recommendation for the council in February for Patrick's position on the Planning Commission. The term of Dan Josephson on the Detroit Lakes Park Board will expire on February 28th, and Dan has served 2 3-year terms, and I'd like to recommend that we reappoint Dan to a 3rd term on the Park Board.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve another term on the Park Board for Dan Josephson. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Likewise, the term of Marcus Locker on the Detroit Lakes Park Board will expire on February 28th, and Marcus has served 1 3-year term. I'd like to recommend that the council appoint Marcus to another term on the Park Board.
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion's been made and seconded to reappoint Marcus Locker to the Detroit Lakes Park Board. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. The term of Larry Buboltz on the Detroit Lakes Public Utilities Commission will expire February 28th. Larry has served 2 3-year terms. I'd like to recommend that the council appoint him to a 3rd 3-year term on the Detroit Lakes Public Utilities Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to reappoint Larry Buboltz to the Detroit Lakes Public Utilities Commission. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Boy, I almost quite a deal there. Thirsty. Good job.
I told Larry it'd be a close vote, so that's what I'm doing.
This morning, we had a meeting right here at City Hall. It was the first quarterly meeting of 2015 with the school, the city, the county, the M-State, and the Chamber of Commerce. And I thought this morning was a pretty good meeting. There were some good things discussed and so on. Good stuff. There's a DNR Parks and Trails Division will be meeting on January 15th at 5 p.m. in the council chambers to discuss the expansion of the Detroit Lakes South Public Access, and that meeting is open to the public. Are there any other items that the city staff has for the city council this evening?
We do have one, Mr. Mayor. It's in agreement with the Broadcast Music Association. There's different groups that allow you to play music, but you have to be properly licensed. We do that at the arena and also at the liquor store. There's a special licensing provision or agreement for municipalities, which City Attorney Ramstad has gotten us arranged for us to complete, but it needs your approval because it is a contract and an agreement.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to approve an agreement between the city and BMA for piped-in music at our city facilities.
So moved.
Motion's been, is it second? Motion's been made and seconded to approve an agreement between the city and BMA for music at the arena and the liquor store. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion's carried. Anything else from city staff? I intend to deliver this evening a State of the City address. I'm just wondering where all the people are. Did you give them the wrong time? Maybe we're early.
Mayor, I think they're waiting for the inaugural part.
Oh.
But fireside waiting for you.
I think so. Before I do that, I'll just go around and see if any of the council has any other items for the discussion. And don't forget, after my remarks, we're going to go into a closed session, and I will ask for a very specific motion at that time, and I wanted to clean up everything before we did that, because it might take a little while, so. Bruce, anything else? Madeline?
Nothing.
David? Ron?
I just wanted to thank the city staff and bring the recognition to the city leaders for the great report from last year from what I've read, and I'm anticipating your words of wisdom here shortly, so thank you.
We'll see how wise they are. Barb? Jay? Jamie? Okay, I'm gonna go into this State of the City address, and it'll probably be longer than the agenda. I apologize for that, but there's a lot of good stuff happening in our community. And Lori, will you grab me another water or pop? Or if there's any beer back there or something? Water or pop is fine. Okay, good evening to the City Council, City staff, and the citizens of Detroit Lakes. It is a privilege and an honor to deliver this evening the annual State of the City address for the year 2014. Overall, I believe 2014 was a very good year in Detroit Lakes. As in the previous few years, we continue to see strong, steady growth. Some new and exciting things happened this past year, and our future again looks promising as we move into 2015. Detroit Lakes is already a great city in so many ways, and we continue to define ourselves as a stronger regional center and attract attention while enhancing our community each year. I believe that the key areas shaping our past success and that will continue to define our future are strong finances, excellent quality of life, good planning, proactive leadership, quality city management and staff, a vibrant business community, and a citizenry that is supportive and philanthropic. First and foremost, Detroit Lakes remains in excellent financial condition. Our reserves and fund balances remain healthy, sound management practices are in place throughout our departments, and we have a strong and expanding tax base. Thank you. You brought both. Revenues from the municipal liquor store, the public utilities department, and the food and beverage tax continue to provide property tax relief and funding for special projects within the city. We continue to enjoy a low overall tax rate in comparison to many other outstate cities, specifically comparing ourselves to similar cities in central and northwestern Minnesota, and all in spite of significant reductions in local government aid over the past 13 years. A reinvigorated housing market, new business development, and expansion of recreational opportunities all contribute in making Detroit Lakes an even better place than ever to live and work. Our quality of life is good in Detroit Lakes. City facilities and infrastructure are generally in good overall condition. Our park and recreational facilities are the envy of many communities much larger than us, and that includes our impressive community and cultural center and now the Detroit Mountain Recreational Area. We have a diverse business community, well balanced between commercial, retail, service, and tourism, creating not only a great quality of life for our citizens, but representing equally a strong draw to Detroit Lakes for new and expanding businesses and for people seeking a quality city to live in. Our community spirit and our community direction is strong, and we have again firmly established ourselves in 2014 as a city that can get things done. Stewardship, volunteerism, philanthropy continue to be the hallmark here in Detroit Lakes. Historically, Detroit Lakes has turned adversity into opportunity. Our leadership and staff have been proactive, creating good, solid growth. And our planning in Detroit Lakes continues to be good, providing the groundwork to capitalize on opportunities when they present themselves. This past year, the City Council conducted 2 separate planning sessions, reviewing not only the longer-term projects and plans already in motion, but also looking ahead to shorter and medium-term priorities. The city does have a comprehensive plan, which includes the Business Corridors Redevelopment Plan. Proudly for our community, significant segments and projects within the Business Corridors Redevelopment Plan have been completed in the last 5 years. The fact that we do plan well, that we do have proactive leadership, and a citizenry that is proud and supportive of our city makes the future of Detroit Lakes very bright. I'm going to go into some of the highlights from our various committees at this time, and I'll start with our finance and our liquor committees. Detroit Lakes continues to enjoy favorable interest and bond rates. As in past years, our credit rating remains excellent, reflecting the city's strong financial position including, as I mentioned, healthy reserves, good management practices and procedures, income from funds other than property taxes, and a relatively rapid payback schedule on our city bond issues. Because of these factors, Standard & Poor's continues to rate the city's credit at AA- stable, an excellent rating for a city of our size, and translating into significant interest savings to the taxpayers in future years. In December, the City Council approved the final 2015 budget and levy. After putting in many long hours, beginning in August, the Finance Committee and the Council were able to finalize a budget that included a relatively modest levy increase to the city taxpayers. While able to keep health insurance costs at a 0% increase, the council did recognize the need for responsible increases in several areas. Our police department will have an additional full-time officer this year to help handle an ever-increasing work and caseload. And the Public Works Department will have an increase in its budget to allow for additional part-time hours needed to help keep up with our continued growth in trails, parks, recreational facilities, and additional annexation areas. A capital fund was established to begin saving for a new and much-needed public works facility. Stormwater mandates, the need to upgrade to the Armor radio system for public safety, and the development and implementation of the new GIS mapping system, crucial to future city planning, were also included in this year's budget. In spite of these needed increases, however, reductions in bond debt service, new building construction, annexation, and appreciation in market values in the city helped offset and mitigate much of this increase. While no one wants a tax increase, I believe the City Council has done a tremendous job in formulating a budget and levy that is both financially manageable for the citizens while reflecting the growth of the city and its needed fundamental services. The Public Utilities Commission approved an increase in the annual transfer to the city's general fund from $475,000 to $525,000 for fiscal year 2015. Municipal liquor store gross receipts and net profits increased again in 2014, with record sales of $5,800,000, making our operation one of the highest grossing non-metro municipal stores in Minnesota. With healthy net profits from operations, transfer to the general fund from the liquor store will total $468,000 for 2015. To put the value of these two revenue funds into perspective, without the combined total direct transfer to the general fund of $993,000, property taxes in Detroit Lakes would have to immediately increase 25% across the board to maintain our status quo. Lodging tax revenues also are at record level, and the Detroit Lakes Regional Chamber of Commerce website experienced a 40% increase in traffic in 2014. Our finance department also projects final receipts from the city's food and beverage tax to be in excess of $356,000 for 2014. While providing an ongoing resource for stewardship to our area lakes, for parking and trail improvements, and for continued redevelopment of our business corridor sectors, the continued increase in the food and beverage tax revenue also represents another barometer of our continued growth in the city. Excuse me. Everybody still awake? I want to touch on some highlights from our Community Development Committee, which also includes highlights from the Development Authority and the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission and the Community Development Committee had a busy 2014. How we doing there, TV guy? Good? Dealing with numerous activities. The Planning Commission reviewed 6 rezoning requests, 7 conditional use permits, 20 variances, and 4 subdivisions, as well as working on changes to the city's sign ordinance and adoption of erosion control and illicit discharge ordinances. Several trail grants were supported and submitted in 2014 for the Heartland Trail, the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area Trail, and the Lincoln Avenue to Westlake Drive Local Trail. The Detroit Lakes Development Authority also had numerous activities in 2014 and continues to help Detroit Lakes make significant gains in economic development through emphasizing business retention, expansion, and in attracting businesses to our community. The Development Authority encourages and supports expansion of our industrial park facilities, downtown redevelopment, and implementation of the Business Corridors Redevelopment Plan, and specifically last year began to focus on potential development of the vacated area of downtown adjacent to Home Street and McKinley Avenue, and also at the corner of Washington Avenue and Westlake Drive. The authority was also directly involved with business expansions and business openings, resulting in new construction, expansion of facilities, and job creation this past year. Some specific projects involving the Development Authority include the development of the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area by providing funding for the feasibility study and working with the Becker Lakes Industrial Development Corporation to secure a $100,000 donation to the project. In addition, assistance was provided for CJ Incorporated and Team Industries as they both made expansions to their facilities in 2014. The Development Authority, the Planning Commission, and the Community Development Committee continue to emphasize housing development. A big accomplishment 2 years ago was the completion of a comprehensive housing study, and as a result of those findings, the city experienced an increase in new housing construction in 2014, which included 46 new single-family units and 82 multifamily units. Building permits total over 32 million this past year, the highest total in the past 4 years. Also of note, the City Council continued to meet quarterly with officials from Becker County, Independent School District 22, M-State, and the Detroit Lakes Regional Chamber of Commerce to discuss local and regional intergovernmental issues and collaborating on areas of potential cost savings to the taxpayers. The city also continues to maintain a close relationship with our elected state and federal officials. Thank you to all the volunteer members of the Detroit Lakes Development Authority, the Planning Commission, and the Housing and Redevelopment Authority for your work and service to the city of Detroit Lakes in 2014. I'll move on to the Public Works and also the Public Utility highlights for 2014. Enhancing the quality of life for our citizens and keeping our city looking good for our visitors kept our Public Works Department busy again in 2014. Annexation, expansion of our park system and facilities, and increased infrastructure continues to put demands on our department. Thankfully, the City Council was able to make a modest increase in the budget to provide some additional part-time labor hours. While not inclusive, some examples of the current volume of responsibility in our Public Works Department include taking care of 86 miles of roads, which is an increase of 32 miles of roads since 2006, 26 miles of sidewalk, 11 snowplow routes, 16 acres of public parking lots, and in 2014, over 280,000 square feet of asphalt was seal-coated. The department oversees the inspection and maintenance of sanitary sewer lines, manholes, lift stations, and the storm sewer system, settlement ponds, and pump stations within the city. In 2014, the Public Works Department completed 5,300 miles of street sweeping, removing 4,775 tons of debris and pollutants from potentially entering our lakes and waterways. The Park Department is responsible for and manages 314 acres of green space, including 206 mowed acres, maintenance of a mile-long city beach, numerous playgrounds, courts, ball fields, the indoor and outdoor skating rinks, the pavilion, the band shell, as well as numerous other facilities, green space, and buildings. Recent additions to the dedicated park areas in the past few years, and including the nearly completed upstream Sucker Creek Park, represents an increase of 20% to our park and green space system. The Detroit Mountain Recreation Area has been a tremendous success so far since opening for business on November 28, 2014. The 16,000 skier visits through January 9th are well above projections, with visitors as anticipated coming to utilize and enjoy the facility from a wide area. Progress continues to be made on our internal trail system as well as the Heartland Trail. The trail from the Highway 10 underpass to McKinley Avenue and Oak Street was entirely completed this past year with local funding approved by the City Council. Food and beverage tax funds continue to be utilized in the Public Works Department, specifically helping fund the expanding multi-use trail system for testing, research, and control of flowering rush in our city's lakes, and for treatment of flowering rush on the city beach. Citizens, property owners, business owners, and visitors all have seen the positive benefits of this funding source. Moving to the public utilities, the Detroit Lakes Public Utilities had a very busy 2014. Last year in mid-February, the severe and early cold caused many water service lines in the city to freeze up, with our crews dealing with 106 water line issues, the last of which was finally thawed on June 6th. When the weather finally warmed up, the utility ended up installing 39 new residential water services and commercial services last year. Water and wastewater personnel worked diligently providing information to the engineering firm working on the wastewater treatment facility study. This comprehensive study is due to be completed soon. As we heard tonight, we've set a meeting for February 2nd, I believe, to hear more on that. And at that time, at some point, the city council will move forward in planning, looking at funding options, potential costs, and different recommended technologies. And as Alderman Imholt pointed out, this is a major project for Detroit Lakes and a high priority in the city's future planning. The electric utility realized good growth as well in 2014, adding 125 new residential customers, 23 commercial customers, and 3 new large power customers. 36 new off-peak installations were added as well, allowing those customers an opportunity to better manage their winter heating costs. The electric crews also played a significant part in the construction of the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area, installing over 38,000 feet of underground electric conductor, providing power to the lifts, lodge, snowmaking equipment, and lighting. Also installed were several large transformers, wire connections to 27 snowmaking pedestals, and 61,000 watt lights for slopes and trails. And on behalf of the council, thank you to the public utilities for all you did to help make this a tremendous project. Both our wastewater and our wastewater and water and electric departments were busy installing and relocating infrastructure this past summer and fall as the Highway 10, Highway 59 frontage road project began. Facilities were also constructed or relocated for the BTD manufacturing expansion, Minnesota Metal Works, a new daycare facility on 11th Avenue, and electrical facilities were expanded for a new housing in Brainerd Acres, Northview Apartments, Stonebrook Apartments, and Shorewood Drive. 67 residential and commercial services were also upgraded this past year. The public utility looks for another busy year in Detroit Lakes in 2015. And again, on behalf of the City Council, thank you to all of our public works and public utility employees for your excellent work in 2014. Thank you also to the members of the Public Utilities Commission and to the Park Board for your contributions. Moving to the public safety highlights, our city's entirely volunteer fire department continues to provide capable and professional services to the city of Detroit Lakes and to the surrounding townships of Detroit, Lakeview, and Erie. Equipment and facilities continue to be meticulously maintained with significant ongoing training for the firefighters. The department responded to over 200 calls during 2014, and Scott Flynn completed his first full year as fire chief. Overall, we can be proud of our firefighters for their dedication and for the quality of the service that they provide. 2014 was also a very busy year for the city police department, responding to well over 11,000 calls for service. Our officers continue to do a tremendous job in providing public safety and service to the community. As a result of resignations, 2 new officers came on board in 2014. Certainly another busy year in terms of personnel activity and training. The City Council has budgeted for an additional full-time officer to be hired in 2015, a well-needed position reflecting the increased workload on the department from city growth and expansion. The department continues the conversion of its fleet to black and white vehicles. I think we got about 3 or 4 of them, don't we, Chief? And in December, we also completed the transition to the Armor radio system, which we talked about a little bit tonight, which allows seamless communications with all public safety agencies across Minnesota. The department continued to upgrade equipment and training in 2014 while maintaining an open participation with the community reflected by the development of a Citizens Police Academy. Some additional public safety projects scheduled for the next couple of years include construction of a tunnel under Highway 59 just east of the MnDOT headquarters. This is part of the Highway 10, Highway 59 frontage road project and will enable vehicles, bicyclists, and pedestrians access to the retail sector on the west part of the city without having to access Highway 10. Other projects of note include stoplights planned for Highway 10 East and County Road 54, crossing arms and crossing improvements at the intersection of Legion Road and the Canadian Pacific Railroad. And of course, I should mention the new roundabout, of course, at the intersection of Willow Street and Highway 59 opened this past summer. Thank you to all of our police officers and firefighters for your good work in 2014. And thank you also to the volunteer members of the Police Civil Service Commission for your service. And in closing, I think we can all agree that overall 2014 was an exciting and productive year in Detroit Lakes with many activities in a number of areas. As I said in my opening remarks, we remain financially strong. We have good facilities and amenities. We are relatively diverse and prosperous in our various business segments. And lastly, we have good planning, solid leadership that continues to be supported by our citizens. Moving forward into the coming year, I urge the council to continue to focus on implementation of the Business Corridors Redevelopment Plan and continue support for Flowering Rush and AIS research, prevention, and treatment. Projects in process and projects identified by the City Council as high priority for 2015 and beyond include, of course, the reconstruction of Washington Avenue from hopefully Highway 10 to Willow Street, and also hopefully including concrete surface and aesthetic features per our city's comprehensive plan. Completion of the Heartland Trail to Frazee from the underpass on Highway 10. The Highway 10 and Highway 59 frontage road project. The Highway 34 upgrade project that runs from Highway 59 to County Road 141. And that'll also include hopefully some multi-use trails and sidewalks to improve pedestrian and bike traffic in that area. Traffic signals on Highway 10 and County Road 54, as I mentioned. The new wastewater treatment facility, the airport runway extension, water and sewer services to the west side of Long Lake annexation area, and water system improvements, and finally completion of our GIS mapping system. Some shorter-term priorities include the McKinley-Frazee Home Street redevelopment area, the Westlake Drive Washington Avenue corner, reconstruction of Westlake Drive from Legion Road to County Road 6, which would also include a multi-use trail, a new public works facility, and completion of the multi-use trail from Oak Street to Pavilion. A little more medium-term priorities include the extension in the future of North Shore Drive to Rossman Avenue or even to Legion Road, and redevelopment of Westlake Drive from Washington Avenue to Legion Road. Longer-term priorities would include annexations both to the south and to the north of the city. In addition to the boards and commissions that I previously mentioned, thank you also to those volunteers who serve on the Library Board, the Detroit Lakes Becker County Airport Commission, the Tourism Bureau, the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area Board, the Detroit Lakes Community and Cultural Center Board, the Detroit Country Club Board, and the Detroit Lakes Community Foundation. The work of all these groups, often behind the scenes, is vital to the City Council in making important decisions for the city's future. On behalf of the entire City Council, a special thank you to G.L. Tucker and Alan Breivik for your years of great service to Detroit Lakes as alderman, and congratulations to Barb Schiller and Jay Sherman on your election to the council. I look forward to working with both of you as we move into the new year. To the citizens of Detroit Lakes, on behalf of the City Council, thank you for your support and for all that you do as individuals and collectively as citizens to make this community as great as it is. To all the Detroit Lake City employees, thank you for all your good work this past year. You are the professionals that keep our city functioning efficiently and who not only serve our citizens, but equally important, make our city appealing to our visitors. To our city department heads, thank you for all your hard work and dedication in making our city run smoothly by being creative and finding ways to save taxpayer dollars and by managing your departments well. You all do a tremendous job individually and as a team, and you work well with the city council for the good of the future of Detroit Lakes. And finally, to the city council and to Vice Mayor Zeman, thank you from all the citizens of Detroit Lakes for your service, leadership, and accomplishments in 2014. It's an honor to work with you and for you, and I look forward to a great 2015 as we make Detroit Lakes a better place to live, to work, and to visit. Thank you. Okay, at this time, I can find my paper here. At this time, I would like to ask for a motion from the council to close the meeting and remove ourselves to the committee room on the basis of the attorney-client privilege as set forth in Minnesota Statute 13D.05 Subdivision 3B and Minnesota Statute 595.02B in order for the council to meet with its attorney, Jason Kubashek, by phone conference and with City Attorney Charles Ramstad in closed session for a status update and to discuss strategy regarding the city's position in the pending litigation by Gregory Holmes and Janet Holmes against the city. And before I get to that motion, I just want to make sure, Charlie, that I didn't miss anything that I should be stating.
That's correct. There is
The first paragraph too?
the second paragraph as well.
I also want to state for the record that the city council should be advised of the strengths and weaknesses of the various choices available to the city in the litigation, and that in order to implement strategy, the city and its attorney need absolute confidentiality with regard to these choices, making it necessary to close the meeting. So I would entertain a motion and a second from the council as I outlined with all the...
I so move.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for the council to go into a closed session. And so at this time, I'm going to ask the council to move into the conference room. That's right. Before we move into the conference room, we probably should vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion's carried. This meeting is not adjourned yet. I don't believe there's anything left really that the council will be doing when we come back out, so if nobody's here when we come out, have a good night.